AI and transaction documentation. Introduction. The transaction closed, then the audit arrived. Throughout this chapter, we have discussed disclosures, contract addenda, and due diligence management. All of these activities generate something extremely important in every Arizona real estate transaction: documentation. Imagine an agent successfully closes a transaction. The clients are happy. The commission has been paid. The file appears complete. 6 months later, the broker receives a request to review the transaction file. As the file is examined, several problems become apparent. An important disclosure is missing. A signed addendum cannot be located. Key communications occurred through text messages that were never retained. The agent remembers the conversations, but cannot produce the records. Suddenly, a transaction that appeared complete becomes a compliance concern. One of the most important responsibilities in Arizona real estate is maintaining complete and accurate transaction files. Artificial intelligence can help organize records, identify missing documents, create transaction summaries, and improve file management systems. However, AI cannot create documents that never existed, and it cannot replace proper record retention practices. Good documentation remains one of the best forms of risk management available to real estate professionals. Why transaction documentation matters. Every real estate transaction tells a story. The contract explains the agreement. The disclosures explain what was communicated. The inspections explain what was discovered. The addenda explain special circumstances. The emails, text messages, and correspondence explain how the transaction progressed. When all of these documents are organized properly, the file provides a complete history of the transaction. When documents are missing, questions arise. Good documentation protects buyers. Good documentation protects sellers. Good documentation protects brokers. Good documentation protects licensees. This is why record keeping remains such an important part of professional real estate practice. Arizona record retention requirements. Arizona licensees must maintain transaction records in accordance with state law and broker requirements. ARS Section 32-2151.01 establishes record retention obligations relating to real estate transactions and brokerage records. The purpose of these requirements is straightforward. If questions arise in the future, the transaction file should contain the information necessary to explain what occurred. A complete file often becomes the best defense against complaints, disputes, and misunderstandings. This is one reason brokers place significant emphasis on file management and document retention. Many agents view paperwork as something that must be completed before receiving a commission check. Experienced professionals view transaction files differently. A complete file serves as a historical record of the transaction. Typical transaction files may include purchase contracts, addenda, disclosures, inspection reports, title documents, HOA information, buyer advisory acknowledgments, correspondence, agency forms, compensation agreements, closing documents. The objective is not simply collecting paperwork. The objective is creating a complete and organized record of the transaction. Documenting communication. Some of the most important records in a transaction involve communication. Many disputes begin with statements such as, "I was never told that. No one explained that to me. I never received that document." Communication records often provide important answers: emails, text messages, written instructions, disclosure acknowledgments. Transaction updates. Artificial intelligence can help organize communication logs and create transaction summaries that document key events. However, the original communications should always be retained according to brokerage policies. Documenting disclosures. Disclosure-related disputes are among the most common sources of post-closing complaints. For this reason, documenting disclosures is critically important. A transaction file should clearly demonstrate when disclosures were delivered, what documents were provided, who received the information, whether acknowledgments were obtained. Artificial intelligence can assist by creating disclosure tracking checklists and identifying missing documentation. The goal is to reduce the likelihood that important disclosure records are overlooked. Managing electronic records. Today's real estate transactions are largely electronic. Contracts are signed electronically. Documents are stored digitally. Communications occur through email, text messaging, and online transaction platforms. While electronic systems improve efficiency, they also create new challenges. Documents must still be organized. Records must still be retained. Files must still be accessible when needed. Artificial intelligence can assist by organizing electronic records and creating file completeness reviews that help agents identify missing items. Using AI to generate transaction summaries. One of the most practical uses of AI involves creating transaction summaries. For example, create a summary of this transaction timeline, including major milestones, disclosures, inspections, and closing events. This type of summary can help agents quickly understand the status of a file. It can also assist brokers during compliance reviews and transaction audits. The summary should never replace the actual documents. However, it can provide an efficient overview of the transaction. Preparing for audits and compliance reviews. Many agents become nervous when they hear the word audit. In reality, audits are much easier when transaction files are complete and organized. Artificial intelligence can help agents prepare by creating file review checklists, such as contract present, addenda signed, disclosures complete, inspection documents included, agency forms retained, communication records documented, closing documents uploaded. These reviews help identify missing information before compliance issues develop. Identifying missing documents. One of the greatest strengths of AI is identifying patterns. This makes AI particularly useful when reviewing file completeness. For example, create a checklist of documents typically required in an Arizona residential resale transaction. The resulting checklist can help agents compare the file contents against expected transaction documentation. This process helps reduce oversights and improves overall file quality. Broker supervision and file management AACR 4-28-1103 requires Arizona brokers to exercise reasonable supervision over the activities of their licensees. Transaction file management plays a major role in that responsibility. Brokers often implement procedures involving document submission deadlines, transaction management systems, compliance reviews, audit procedures, record retention standards. Artificial intelligence can support these systems by improving organization and identifying potential deficiencies. However, supervision remains a human responsibility. Technology supports supervision. It does not replace supervision. Creating compliance workflows. Many successful brokerages are now incorporating AI into their compliance workflows. A typical process may look like this: contract accepted, documents uploaded, AI file review performed, missing items identified. Agent corrects deficiencies. Broker review completed. File approved. This workflow combines technology with professional oversight and helps improve consistency across transactions. The objective is not automation alone. The objective is accuracy. Reducing risk through documentation. When disputes arise, documentation often becomes the most important evidence available. Good documentation can demonstrate what was disclosed, what was explained, when documents were delivered, what instructions were provided, how the transaction progressed. Poor documentation often creates uncertainty. Strong documentation creates clarity. Artificial intelligence can help improve organization, but the quality of the file still depends upon the actions of the licensee. Conclusion: transaction documentation is one of the most important components of professional real estate practice. Every disclosure, every contract, every communication, every addendum, every transaction milestone. Together, these records tell the story of the transaction. Artificial intelligence provides valuable tools for organizing files, identifying missing documents, generating transaction summaries, and supporting compliance workflows. When used properly, AI can improve efficiency and reduce administrative oversights. However, technology cannot replace proper record keeping. The most successful real estate professionals understand that a complete transaction file is more than paperwork. It is protection for the client, for the broker, and for the licensee. Because in real estate, good documentation is often the difference between proving what happened and trying to remember what happened. Online discussion question 1. Why are complete transaction files important? Answer: complete transaction files provide a documented history of the transaction, support compliance requirements, and help protect licensees, brokers, buyers, and sellers if disputes arise. Question 2. How can AI assist with transaction documentation? Answer: AI can organize records, create transaction summaries, identify missing documents, support audit preparation, and improve file management workflows. Question 3. Why is documentation considered an important risk management tool? Answer: documentation provides evidence of what occurred during the transaction and can help resolve disputes, complaints, and compliance questions.